So I wanted to explain to you on why I decided to buy the breakout on PROG stock, ticker symbol PROG, here in after hours at an average cost of $3.01. Why I'm expecting this stock to gap up and explode to a high of $3.95 tomorrow to fill this gap, and why that's going to be a key critical level, meaning if PROG stock turns $3.95 into a resistance level, it's going to fill that gap, start to have a reversal. You see it have that pullback. You see it reacting as resistance. You see bearish confirmations. This stock is going to have a 30 to 40% crash for the short term being if that were to happen, right? So me personally, I'm riding this up to the 395s. If I see it reacting as resistance, if I see pullbacks, if I see bearish candlesticks forming, if I see lower highs forming, I'm going to be locking in gains because me personally, I'm not willing to stomach a 30 to 40% pullback. If you're diamond handing this and holding for the long term and you could stomach that, by all means do so. It's a lot different if you're buying here in the ones versus buying here in the threes. But with that being said, this is just a short-term swing trade for me. And within this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the strategy that I'm using, and I'm going to walk you through the key price action analysis. So basically, I'm going to show you the key support levels and the key resistance levels, and I'm basically going to show you where the stock price is heading if it has a negative or positive reaction at those levels. So this video is simply going to teach you when to be long biased and when to be short biased for the short-term price action of PROG stock. So let's get into the analysis, right? So PROG stock. We are currently up very, very nicely here in after hours. It just hit a high of 319, currently sitting at 314. It is consistently trending up. It is consistently forming higher support. Things are looking absolutely phenomenal here for the short term being. Now, with that being said, I was studying the chart history of this stock, and I've noticed, when this stock gaps up, it tends to gap and go, and it tends to have another gap up, especially on the day one of it gapping up. So I'll show you some examples here real quick. It gaps up, and then you can see it gaps and goes, right? And then I'll show you some recent examples right here. This is the first day it gaps up, and then it gaps and goes, right? And then in terms of today, we had its first gap up once again, and now it's going, right? And it's running in after hours. So I'm playing this as a gap and go, taking advantage of the short squeeze and momentum, and I'm simply looking to ride this up to $3.94, which is going to be that key resistance level. Now, in terms of my max risk, this is what we really need to see, right? So in terms of pullbacks, let's talk pullbacks, right? So say this has a pullback. Your key level is going to be $3. We need to see $3 remain as a support level. It needs to continue to go up for this to hit that 390 level where I'm looking to lock in profits. Now, $3 cracks, your next overall level is going to be 270, which is the absolute most I'm willing to risk. Why am I not risking more than 270s? Simply because look at your downside potential. On this day, it got too high at 270, and it went all the way down to 222. And then on this day, it formed some lower highs at 250s, and it went to $1.99, right? So that's a key critical level where if 270s cracks and it turns into resistance, we're talking huge downside potential to $2 a share. Now, in terms of the bullish chart, you can see right here, this is the inverse of what I just said. This is a key critical resistance level of $2.20, and it dropped all the way to 120s. Look what happens when that key critical resistance level of huge downside potential turns into a support level. For 4 days in a row straight, it held as support, and today's the day where it exploded, where the inverse happened. Instead of this crashing $1, it goes up nearly $1 profit per share. So with that being said, that's a very bullish confirmation for this to continue to run, continue to break out, along with this major resistance level of 270 now reacting as a support, and then your key whole round number of 3 reacting as a support right now. The chart looks phenomenal. The price action looks phenomenal. The volume is very, very strong. It's a classic short squeeze play to ride this gap, waiting to fill above. The call option chain is exploding. You got 212,000 volume on the calls, and you have only 22,000 on the puts, right? So obviously the odds are in favor of the calls. So with that being said, I'm playing this as a gap and go to fill this gap above. PROG stock has a strong history of filling the gaps that are waiting to fill above. If you go back throughout the chart history of this stock, it has basically filled every single gap that has been waiting to fill, whether it's a gap to fill above or a gap to fill below, it has a strong history of doing so. And due to the current volume, momentum, and short squeeze play and pattern we have in play here, odds are it's going to be filling it very, very soon, as it's very, very close to that price. So with that being said, that's kind of the price action strategy that I'm using on this particular stock. It's managed to turn, 220 heavy resistance into support. Now it's managed to turn your key resistance at 270 into support. It's also managed during after hours, which is a huge influence to buy for this continuation of run. $3 to turn support, that key hole round number. So the odds are showing that this is simply on track to fill this gap here at 395. So that is what it is that I look for. If $3 cracks and it turns it into resistance, so let's say $3 cracks and then it bounces back up, reacts to resistance level, forming lower highs, then it goes back to 270s. Absolute most I'm going to be willing to risk is 270s to 260s. The price target is currently sitting right here at $3.95, which is your key critical level. So just understand, if you see this stock hit 395, just understand it's filling a gap, and it's at a key major resistance level with huge downside potential, and just look at its previous reactions. We're talking a 30 to 50% crash at its key levels, right? So if you're not willing to stomach that, that would be the time to personally lock in profits. It's as simple as a reaction of this. If you see it reacted as a resistance, that's going to be time to lock in profits. If you see a bearish candlestick like this, if you see a red candle and you see those wicks forming towards the 390s, that's going to be your time to lock in profits. So with that being said, that is my plan on ticker symbol PROG, and that is simply my price action analysis. This stock has a strong history of gapping up and gapping going, especially on day one of the gap up, and it's validated key resistance levels into support. The volume is strong, the momentum is here, the short squeeze is in play. So for the short term being, this looks phenomenal. Like I said, my max risk is sitting at 270 to 260s, and I simply walked you through the price action, right? So yeah, that's going to be my analysis on PROG stock.